Old Fart Travel Channel. Tour du Mont Blanc. Hi, welcome to the Old Fart Travel Channel. I'm John, the Old Fart. And today I'd like to share with you my Tour du Mont Blanc. It's a 105-mile hike around Mont Blanc. You start out in Chamonix, France, and then go to Italy, and then into Switzerland, and then back into France. So it's a circle around the mountain. And there's a lot of elevation gain, but absolutely rewarding scenery. Nice hostels to stay in. And it was a lot of fun. So let's go take a look. On day one, I traveled from Chamonix to Les Houches. Although the mileage and elevation gain were modest, it was still a fairly difficult day due to a descent of more than 5,300 feet. Well, good morning. I'm on my first day of the walk. Today I walk from Chamonix about 6 miles to the next town, but it's a very steep descent. You can go down about 5,000 feet. Anyway, let's get moving. I started in Chamonix, taking the Planpraz gondola to Planpraz, and then the Brevant cable car to nearly 8,300 feet, my starting point for day one. On the TMB, you might see alpine marmots, ibex, and golden eagles, plus plenty of friendly cattle and sheep grazing the meadows. And don't worry, there are no bears or mountain lions here, just the occasional Bigfoot. The journey begins above Lac du Brevant, as wind and clouds sweep in to remind you that you're in the high Alps. Refuge Belachat is a small, rustic mountain hut with breathtaking views of Mont Blanc. I am told the real highlight here is the sunset, the best anywhere on the Tour du Mont Blanc. The stretch from Brevant down to Les Houches is one of the steepest descents on the entire TMB. The trail drops more than 5,000 feet, winding over rocky, uneven ground. It's tough on the knees and demands careful footing. I stayed at Hôtel Saint-Antoine in Les Houches, France. It was comfortable enough, but nothing particularly special. It was, however, convenient for accessing the trailheads. On day two, I traveled from Les Houches to Les Contamines. The 9-mile route had a modest elevation gain of 1,583 feet, but it still proved challenging after the long descent of the previous day. Les Houches is the traditional starting point for the TMB. I took the Bellevue cable car, skipping the steep climb and enjoying stunning Mont Blanc views from the start. What makes the TMB challenging isn't the distance, it's the constant elevation changes. This is one of the flattest sections on the route, but don't underestimate the challenge of the downhills. Hiking the TMB is friendly for solo trekkers. I met plenty of fellow hikers along the way, yet the trail almost never felt too crowded. Okay, except maybe for today. Clean drinking water is available along the way, but not always. I recommend carrying at least 2 liters and refilling whenever you can. Tonight's stay at Hotel Guy Soleil was wonderful, especially relaxing on the outdoor patio with an ice-cold beer. On day 3, I set out from Les Contamines and made my way to Les Chapieux. The route was 8.7 miles, but with a leg-burning 3,762 feet of climbing, it quickly became one of the toughest days yet. I suggest taking a shuttle to the Notre Dame de la Gorge trailhead, then hiking to Refuge de la Balme for a mid-morning breakfast stop before crossing Col du Bonhomme and the higher Col de la Croix du Bonhomme. Even with the shuttle, for me, this was the most difficult day on the TMB. You're still in the early stages here, about 3 miles and 2,500 feet to Col du Bonhomme. From there, it's 5.2 miles, mostly downhill, to Auberge de la Nova, with around 3,400 feet of descent. As I said, be prepared for a difficult day. This is Col du Bonhomme, 7,641 feet up on the Tour du Mont Blanc. The climb was cold and windy, but what a feeling to reach the top. Even with clouds rolling in, the views are incredible, and every step to get here was worth it. Next up, Col de la Croix du Bonhomme at 8,133 feet. From here, it's all downhill as we start the long descent to Auberge de la Nova, with a brief stop at Refuge de la Croix du Bonhomme. Tonight I'm at Auberge de la Nova in Les Chapieux, a rustic dormitory-style inn with simple bunks. Day 4 took me from Les Chapieux to Cabane de Combal. It was just 5.8 miles, but a steady 2,631 feet of elevation gain kept my legs busy from the first step to the last.
All right, today is day 4. It's raining. Hopefully it'll clear up by noon, I think it said yesterday, but I don't have any cell or Wi-Fi here, so I'm not sure. Anyway, we're going to jump on a shuttle up the road a little bit and then start hiking from there.
Outside the Les Chapieux tourist office, there's a bus ticket machine for La Ville des Glaciers. Buy tickets the night before, as buses often sell out early. Looking back on La Ville des Glaciers, the starting point for day 4, I reached Col de la Seigne at 8,251 feet at 11:30 in the morning. Cold, windy, and rainy, the only bad weather of the trip. This is also where I crossed from France into Italy. The weather began to improve on the descent to Refugio Elisabetta, and luckily that was the last of the bad weather for the trip. One of my favorite dormitory-style stays was at Refugio Elisabetta, nestled in Italy's Val Veni at about 7,200 feet. The refuge offers stunning views and a true mountain hut atmosphere. For me, the combination of scenery and charm made it unforgettable, and I highly recommend it. On day 5, I traveled from Cabane de Combal to Courmayeur, a shorter stretch, only 4.5 miles, but with 1,755 feet of climbing. It was far from an easy stroll. I really enjoyed my stay at Refugio Elisabetta. Looking back at the hut as I began day 5, the hike to Courmayeur revealed some of the most stunning panoramic views of the Mont Blanc massif. The lakes reflected the towering peaks beautifully, and I was glad the rain was finally behind me. There was nothing but sunshine from here on out. One of my favorite stays on the trip was Hotel Los Coyatolo, right in the heart of Courmayeur with outstanding service. I can't recommend it enough. Day 6 was an enjoyable rest day in Courmayeur. Here's a short list of recommended rest day activities. First, ride the Skyway Monte Bianco to the highest point in Italy. Then stroll through the village of Courmayeur, visit the Alpine Museum, and stop by the Church of Saint Pantalon. Most importantly, relax and recharge. For our first rest day activity, we begin at the base station of the Skyway Mont Bianco. The first gondola glides upward, away from Courmayeur. The rotating cabins ensure everyone gets panoramic views, 360 degrees of rising peaks, glacial valleys, and the Aosta Valley shrinking below. Pavillon du Mont Blanc is the midway station at 7,200 feet. Many hikers and climbers begin their alpine routes from this point. On the second gondola, we soar over cliffs and ice fields, pulling us toward Punta Helbronner, perched at 11,300 feet. At the very top station, travelers can visit the highest point in Italy. Here you can cross on a third, smaller gondola from Italy to France. From Punta Helbronner in Italy, the Vallée Blanche gondola glides across the glaciers to France, reaching the Aiguille du Midi at 12,605 feet, one of the most breathtaking border crossings in the Alps. Be sure to stroll through Courmayeur, a charming alpine village at the foot of Mont Blanc, known for its stunning views, cozy streets, and lively cafes. I got a real kick out of the giant crampons in the town square. Be sure to enjoy Piazza Abbé Joseph Marie Henry, perfect for a coffee or beer. Also in the square is the Alpine Museum, showcasing the history of mountain guiding with vintage gear, expedition memorabilia, and legendary climbs. The Church of Saint Pantalon, Courmayeur's parish church, dates back to the 18th century. Inside, it holds beautiful Baroque altars, frescoes, and memorials to the town's alpine guides. After hiking all day, I'd probably think cardboard tasted good. One of the real highlights on the TMB are the homemade tarts you'll find in the mountain refuges and alpine cafes, especially the wild blueberry ones around Chamonix, Courmayeur, and the Val Ferret. And while most meals are cooked in bulk and served dormitory style, I've got to say, the food was pretty good. And just look at those ribs, proof's in the picture. Nothing left but the bones. Day 7 had me leaving Courmayeur and heading to La Vache at 8.6 miles and 3,673 feet of elevation gain. It was a long, steady grind, rewarded with some truly breathtaking scenery.
Well, good morning. Today is day 7, and had about 8 or 9 miles today, about 3,600 feet of gain. Took a taxi to the trailhead, so a little bit less than that. So we'll see how it goes. It's nothing but up from here till we get to the first refugio.
The trail climbs fast, gaining about 2,600 feet. Refugio Bertone sits on a grassy shelf with plenty of outdoor seating and sweeping views over Val Ferret. Take time to relax on the terrace. The panorama is truly unforgettable. The refuge was built in 1982 in memory of Italian mountaineer Bertone, who tragically died in a plane crash beneath the summit of Mont Blanc. From Refugio Bertone, the trail continues along what's known as the Balcony Path. This famous section of the Tour du Mont Blanc traces high above the Val Ferret, like a balcony overlooking the valley below. The path rolls gently across alpine meadows and rocky slopes, never straying far from the dramatic skyline. All the while, Mont Blanc and its towering glaciers dominate the horizon, giving you some of the finest views anywhere on the circuit. The walk toward La Vache is less about steep climbing and more about soaking in the panorama. Glimpses of hanging glaciers, jagged peaks, and the winding river far beneath your feet. By the time you arrive in the hamlet of La Vache, you'll feel like you've walked one of the most beautiful balconies in all the Alps. In La Vache, I stayed at Hotel La Vache, a welcoming mountain inn in the hamlet of La Vache, known for hearty meals and a cozy, family-run atmosphere. On day 8, I trekked from La Vache to La Folie, 9 miles, 2,824 feet of climbing, and views so good they made it worth it.
Good morning. This is day 8, and behind me there is the pass I'm going over. It goes into Switzerland. Today's day 8, and this might be a little long one today. Anyway, it's beautiful scenery. Let's get going.
I took a shuttle from La Vache to Arp Nouvaz, where my walk to La Folie began. From Arp Nouvaz, it starts out steep, passing a bridge. At 6,765 feet, Refugio Elena is an inviting stop for coffee with spectacular glacier views. It's the last major stop before hikers climb the Grand Col Ferret, the pass into Switzerland on the Tour du Mont Blanc, and a great place to rest your barking dogs. From here, the trail climbs steadily to the Grand Col Ferret at 8,323 feet, the border between Italy and Switzerland. Behind you stretch the glaciers of the Mont Blanc massif, and ahead lies the green Swiss Val Ferret. This high alpine pass, the tallest point on the Tour du Mont Blanc, is both a natural divide and a breathtaking milestone on the journey. Here at the Grand Col Ferret, the highest point on the Tour du Mont Blanc, Italy is at your back and Switzerland in front of you. Crossing the Grand Col Ferret, you'll often share the trail with grazing sheep, a reminder of the alpine traditions that still thrive high in these mountains. The TMB is popular with mountain bikers and trail runners. The UTMB is one of the most famous trail running races in the world. In 2023, an American ultra runner set the course record at 19 hours, 37 minutes, and 43 seconds. I, on the other hand, took 12 days. Gîte Buvette de la Pearl was another great coffee break. From there, it's a gradual descent on wide trails to the village of La Folie. Tonight, I'm staying at Hotel Edelweiss in La Folie, Switzerland. This charming alpine lodge sits at the foot of the Swiss Val Ferret, surrounded by rugged peaks and green meadows. We had to take off our boots at the hotel. The surprise? Heated pegs. Nothing like slipping into warm boots in the morning, like room service for my feet. Day 9's route took me from La Folie to Champex. It was 8.7 miles with a gentler 2,037 feet of elevation gain, giving my legs a little break before the final stretch ahead.
Well, good morning. Today is day 9. I have a short hike today. It's 9 miles, but the attraction is it's not a lot of elevation gain or drop. So it kind of goes through the Swiss countryside. So let's get going.
The trail begins on a wide forest track, shaded by tall pines. After a short distance, the path narrows and follows the river through the valley. It's an easy and scenic stretch on the TMB. Near Isert, La Cabana is a perfect morning stop. The menu features caramel, ham, and chorizo crepes, and the staff couldn't be friendlier. Another solid old fart recommendation. Tonight I stayed at Hotel Splendide. True to its name, it was splendid, with beautiful views. I especially enjoyed relaxing on the outdoor patio, overlooking the scenery below. Day 10 took me from Champex to Trient, 10.5 miles, with 2,928 feet of climbing. A full day on the trail with rewarding views at every turn.
Well, good morning. Today is day 10. I have 3 full hiking days left.
Nice that they put the tub out for my once-a-month cleaning. Oh wait, maybe that's for the cattle. Whatever you do, don't get in my way on the trail, especially if I'm headed to lunch. A few miles out from Champex, the path leads to Alpage de Bovine, a classic mountain hut. It's the perfect place for a snack or lunch, with fresh tarts, local cheeses, and plenty of friendly cattle grazing nearby to keep you company. The final descent today leads to Trient, known for its pink church, Église Rose, and the nearby Trient Glacier. I am staying at Auberge du Mont Blanc, more dormitory-style lodging, but fortunately I have a single room. Day 11. I was feeling pretty worn at this point, not to mention that I really wanted to do the ladder section tomorrow, day 12. So on day 11, I switched it up. My original plan was a strenuous hike to Col de Baume. Then I planned to ride a gondola and chairlift down to La Tour. Instead, saving my legs for tomorrow's ladder section, I took the bus and train to La Tour, the road the gondola and chair lifts up, and walked the short ridge to Col de Baume on the French-Swiss border and its refuge. Big views without the grind. After arriving in La Tour, first was the Chamonix gondola to Chamonix at an elevation of 6,271 feet. From Chamonix, I rode the chairlift to its terminus at 7,218 feet. From there, it's about a half mile to Refuge du Col de Baume at 7,188 feet on the border of France and Switzerland. From Refuge du Col de Baume, there were some spectacular views back into Switzerland and on to France. I returned to La Tour the same way, with a nice break at Le Chalet de Chamonix on the way down. With views over the Chamonix Valley and Mont Blanc, and tomorrow's ladder section hike right in front of me. I stayed at Hôtel de la Couronne in Argentière, right beside the town square, Place du Village. And finally, day 12. From Argentière back to Chamonix, just 5.3 miles, but with 2,755 feet of climbing, it was a fitting way to finish the journey on a high note.
Well, good morning. Today is day 12, final morning on the TMB. Going from here to Chamonix, back to where I started from. So just about to head out.
For the first mile and a half, the trail runs alongside the road, leading to the Col des Montes trailhead. From Col des Montes, the trail turns into a steep, rocky climb through forest and open slopes for almost another mile and a half. Finally, you reach the start of the ladder section. There are 2 sets of ladders, 12 in the first set and 3 in the second. This photo, taken the day before, shows the trail for today and highlights the ladder section. The ladder section of the Tour du Mont Blanc is one of the most talked about features on the route. Metal ladders and handrails have been bolted into the rock. The ladders were originally installed to give herders and later hikers a safer passage through this steep terrain, and today they're maintained for trekkers tackling the circuit. While the exposure can feel dramatic, the ladders are sturdy, and the views back across the Chamonix Valley make the effort worthwhile. Many hikers say it's a highlight of the TMB, both for the adrenaline and for the unique sense of adventure it adds to the journey. Because this section can bottleneck with hikers going up and down, it's best to start early in the day to avoid the crowds and keep the traffic flowing smoothly. For me, this was one of the most spectacular highlights of the trip. Just after the ladders, the Flégère gondola appears in the distance, the final destination of my Tour du Mont Blanc. Standing here, with the Mont Blanc in front of me, I couldn't help but take it in one last time. The views were unforgettable, and the journey truly spectacular. After 12 unforgettable days, the Tour du Mont Blanc is behind me, but the memories and the friendships will last forever. This was more than a hike, it was a journey of the heart. Well, that's my Tour du Mont Blanc. That trip was spectacular. I enjoyed every minute of it. In this section, I'd like to mention a couple things that I might do differently. One is maybe slow down. I did it in 12 days, which is actually slow compared to most people, but in old fart fashion. I'd like to even slow it down a little more, take a relaxing pace, and watch the world go by. So I would probably do it in 2 extra days, 14 days total. There's a couple days where I felt they were pretty long, and I'd break them up if I could. The next thing would be carry less. I had a pack service carry everything, so it really wasn't a big deal, but there were 2 days where I had to carry everything, and I guess I'd do that maybe a little bit lighter, take some things out. Again, if you look at my description, you can see what I did take and see my recommendations of what maybe not take the next time. And then next, I'd like to go over some recommendations. Pygmy Elephant, she put my trip together for me, and they did a spectacular job. Really great organization. Everybody there is great to work with that I connected with, and I would highly recommend them. They have trips all over the world, so I would look into them if you wanted somebody to put something together for you. The next one is TMB Tent Adventure Guides. I use them just to put together some custom GPS routes for me, but they do a lot more than that, and they were also very helpful, very nice to work with, so I would recommend them. Next is Tour Mont Blanc taxi service, or Taxi Mont Blanc taxi service. I used them a couple times, and they're really, really dependable, and you can book them online. You can book them by calling them or even shooting them an email. They did great by me, so I'd recommend them. And there was a couple lodgings I'd like to recommend. Refugio Elisabetta, which is like a dormitory style, but just a beautiful setting. Really beautiful place, and the people that work there were great. So I'd like to say that. And then there was a hotel in Courmayeur called Lo Scoia'tato, and it was really good. Very like a family-run business that was just great. So those are my recommendations. And again, you can find those in the description. Thanks for watching the Old Fart Travel channel. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share. See you next time.